Hello everyone, Mireya here from Pink Pewter and welcome to my Biz Talk. You know, I have to share this with you before we even start. I have a really special guest, actually one of my mentors on here that has taught me how to speak in public. And I have him on here because everybody needs to know him because he's amazing and he's a leader. I want to introduce Ben Mollin. Come on.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to have you on today. And can you introduce yourself just a little bit? Because you know me, I will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but I want you to introduce yourself to the world.
I will. I will give a little Reader's Digest condensed version of who I am. And again, thank you for having me on this. This is awesome. You're always one step ahead of the game. And I'd like to talk about that later, about your sixth sense, if I may. So my name is Ben Mollin. I have been a licensed cosmetologist in the states of Illinois and Indiana for the last 28 years. My claim to fame in the hairdressing world is that I was the runner-up on the season 1 of Bravo's Sheer Genius back in 2007. And in 2011, I started something called the Ben Mollin Project, when I realized that people that were presenting in classrooms and trade show settings didn't have any information on how to not be nervous and how to present. So I reached out to a friend of mine that was a speech and debate coach at a college level and 2 improv comics, and the project was born. So since 2017, I've worked with over 350 artists in 3 different countries on helping creative people organize their minds to create powerful content and how to own the room and be the best version of yourself when it comes to speaking publicly.
You know, like I said, he is so amazing. You know, the number one thing in business is the fear of public speaking. And I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm a hairdresser. I've been a hairdresser since I was 14 years old. I grew up in my mom's salon. And as my business started growing, I started getting opportunities of speaking in public. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you, I was really, really scared. I'm not prepared to be a public speaker. And I was asked a couple of years back to be a keynote speaker for a woman in business. And I didn't understand why they wanted to ask me to come and speak. And I was nervous to be around hundreds of very successful women. And I took the challenge and I said, let me try it. So that is when I met Ben Mollin. I actually hired him to coach me and guide me and help me get on stage and be calm. Guys, it's really hard to be public speaking. I mean, my heart was in my throat, my stomach, my hands were shaking. And what Ben did to me, I mean, it's unreal. I do so many public speaking events now, and I speak in front of thousands, and there's not one drop of anxiety on my heart or in my throat because of him. Now, I want Ben to come on and how did you help me? How did you teach me? How did you make my mind be so focused? Because it's really hard. I mean, it was hard for me for a long time, but you helped. What did you do?
I taught you how to breathe. I taught you how to breathe. And the way that I see it here, I think I got a piece of paper right in front of me. I'm going to draw you something. Okay. I'm going to draw you a real small little picture. And what this is a circle, right? And what I consider that circle is to be your life habit. And a life habit could be anything. It's you wake up at a certain time, you check your emails, you have this mindset, you're a go-getter, you're an entrepreneur, you're a mom, you have all these things that you do every single day that you just own. Even if they bring you sorrow, frustration, they bring you joy, a sense of accomplishment. They're things that you own and that you're able to do them because you do them every day subconsciously. So now I'm going to draw you another little piece of the pie. That little guy right there, that's newness. That's something that isn't in your life habit. And it's something that you don't own, but it's something that you want to create. And it's also where you want to be the most powerful. So unfortunately, your life habit doesn't play well into something that you're doing for the first time. So the first thing that I teach people to do is to breathe. So when people tell me that they're nervous, Mireya, I say, you're not nervous, you're unprepared. Let's figure out the difference. Nerves come from anticipation, the unknown, not knowing this and not knowing that. So if I take that nervous energy and if I don't find a way to filter that, it just doesn't work. So the first thing that I taught you how to do is breathe. So anytime that you are doing something new, you never want to just run right into it. You don't want to just hurry up real fast. Hey, let me just make time for this. Let me write this speech out really quick. Let me practice it before I have to go on. Okay, it's just this little bit of sliver. So I teach people how to breathe and how to organize their thoughts. And that's what it is. And you can practice doing this, you can practice doing that, whether it's business, leadership, in our case, hairdressing. However, if you do not practice lowering your heart rate, what you look like in front of the mirror, how are you appearing to be the most confident person that you possibly can? And if we're not practicing this, guess what? We're not going to become that person. So the only thing that I did with you is I gave you just a couple tools, but I invested my heart, and you and I worked together, and the nerves turned into joy. It turned into, I can't believe I just did that. So now all of a sudden, this small little piece of something that was foreign to you, now it's gotten a lot bigger. And now it's actually replaced where you're at right now. So now we can create something new again, because we've already gotten a really good comprehension of everything that made us nervous. And now look at you now, speaking all over the world, doing this and doing that. And it's because you practiced, now you're prepared, and you know how to breathe, my friend, because you have to figure out how to lower that heart rate, find a resting tempo in which you operate. And you're doing fantastic. And again, thank you for all the kind words. Mean a lot to me.
Thank you. Well, you not only did Ben teach me how to breathe, but I use that technique when I have anxiety. I mean, I was suffering from anxiety when this coronavirus started, and I was really nervous, and breathing was the best medicine for me because of him. I love you, Ben.
Breath.
Teach the people how to breathe, because right now, the minds of people, some got their stimulus bills, some got their PPP, some got their SBA, but some haven't. And some people feel like the anxiety is attacking them. And this breathing and the calm is very helpful, even in any time. So can you teach them how to do that?
Yeah. The first thing that I want to bring up is you are going to be a lot more creative when you're not happy. And I have been saying that for years. So saying things like, I'm just not feeling it today, I'm just not in the mindset, I've had a bad day. My advice to anybody is grab a piece of paper and a pencil, sit in front of your computer and write that out, because you create the best content when you're in a dark place and in survivor mode. You just have so much energy. So let's take that energy and not use it in a way that we're, okay, how do we make ourselves happy? Oh, no. Let's find a way to burn that energy and start creating content. So anyone that's in a place right now where they don't know where to turn, they feel like they're lost, become creative. Create your own universe in which you thrive, in which you are just Wonder Woman or Superman, in which you can heal the sick. You can do anything that you put your mind to. You have to create that reality for yourself. Again, you're just a small little piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So before I start anything, the first thing that I do, and I'll even get into it, man, I stand up. And the first thing I do before I even stand up, Mireya, when I'm sitting here, is I say to myself, you got this. I don't say, oh shit, I hate this. Oh, this is going to suck. Because if I stand up with that attitude, that's the attitude that I'm going to portray and push forwards. So even if I'm doing something for the first time, I say, how grateful am I to have the air that I breathe, the fact that I'm able to actually do something and have an independent thought. That's amazing. I got this. Let me just go up here and see what it looks like. I know I can always improve. So I stand up with my feet and shoulder width apart. I breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth. Then I do it one more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now, once I get to that point, I think to myself, I'm going to work on how I want to introduce myself. So yeah, I can easily say, hi, my name is Ben Mollin, or hi, my name is Mireya Villarreal. But you know what I'm going to say instead? I'm going to give them a mission statement of something that I believe in my core as a human being. So as opposed to saying, hi, I'm Ben Mollin, what would happen if I said, I believe there is a superpower in everyone that needs to be heard. Hi, my name is Ben Mollin, and today we're going to talk about superpowers. Ugh! And then I stand up, and then I practice it. I believe that every human being has a superpower that needs to be heard. Hi, I'm Ben Mollin, and today, and it starts from there. And then I just develop it and develop it and develop it. And the next thing I know, something I was afraid of, now I can't wait to share. Because I've taken every insecurity that I possibly had before I started writing, before I started developing this mindset, and I've turned it around and I've created a different image of how I'm going to look to other people. Once you create that persona and once you project that out loud, that's who you become. I'm telling you, you have to believe in it.
I love it. I have to share that you're completely right. If you're in a dark place, you write down your ideas. I've gone through a roller coaster ride in my journey in life. And every single bad situation I have ever been in, I write it down. Get yourself a journal. I believe in journals, like 100%.
100%.
My grandmother mentored me when I was younger, and she said, write down all your ideas and all of the things that you do, that the highlight of your day, because one day, that little, experiment that you did or the little quote that you did are going to make you very successful. And I said, okay, whatever. Well, anyway, I ended up turning my bad situations into a positive. I started writing down all of my bad situations, and I got myself my journal, and I created a book. I have a book now, Ben. I don't know if I share that with you, but
it doesn't surprise me at all, actually. Doesn't surprise me at all.
And I give all these people, that I mentor and I talk to, I said, everybody wants to hear a story. And everybody has a beautiful story. But if you do not write down your thoughts and your ideas, your good, your bad, and your ugly, you're never going to get to that point of maybe one day writing a book. Well, all of my bad situations turn into a positive because my bad situations are now helping people. So yes, and the breathing and the exhaling and writing your thoughts down are fabulous ideas. Okay.
And then, even something else when you're working with the creative process is that anytime you want to offer a problem, you automatically want to figure out a solution for that problem right underneath it. Hey, here's the problem. The problem is, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. The solution is I'm going to find a way to make money. Like you have to manifest it. For every problem, you offer a solution. And if the solution doesn't necessarily appear right away, write it down. Write down your best case scenario and create as much content as you possibly can. It's your content.
Absolutely.
Develop yourself. Start telling the story. Watch yourself go from triumph to tragedy, because it's that journey from triumph to tragedy, Mireya, that creates empowerment. Mm-hmm. You can't just say, I want to deliver a powerful message and tell me that you're just going to pull that out of your head while you're standing there in front of people. You got to earn that stuff, man. You got to earn it and write it down and create it, practice it. How does this sound? Make a video on your phone, look at it, delete it, write something down, throw it away, call me. There's so many ways to do it. There's so many ways to do it.
I absolutely agree with you. I do a lot of these speakings. I do a lot of shows, and the number one thing when I talk, I always ask the people to raise their hand, if they have fear in public speaking. And I'm going to say probably half the room is raising that hand. And I have been on here because, my whole Zoom videos that I'm doing is to help you and help you get out of that little box that you have to explore these experiences. And public speaking is one of the hardest things people can do. And I have him on here because he is power. He teaches people how to get out of that shell. Ben, I know you've been teaching thousands of people on how to public speak, but a lot of them they have anxiety issues, right? When you're talking, they blush, they start talking, and you could see the hand shaking. How do you guide them to stop that? I know the breathing, but
I tell people that if they weren't of value, people wouldn't want to be sharing them to use information. And some people call it imposter syndrome. And it's something that I had for years. I didn't feel like, wait a minute, you want to hire me to speak in front of 1,000 people, and you picture these 1,000 people leaving empowered after I get off the stage. And you know how I used to think about that? I'm like, oh, you got the wrong guy, but I'll put something together and I'm sure it'll work out, right? So we don't like things that we don't feel comfortable doing. I think it's that simple. I think it's that black and it's that white. And if you have an opportunity to share information with other people, and you've been asked especially to share that information, you have something in you that you might not even know that you have, but other people are telling you. And that is the ultimate form of flattery. And my whole entire career, that is the only ounce of ego that I will ever have, is the applause of others. So I think it's okay to go into something being like, oh man, I hope this works. Because that just means that you care. It means that your heart's invested into it. But you have to look at new opportunities that other people have brought to you because you are not seeing your full potential, and you have to trust the process. Number one. Number two, there are some people that just don't like it. And you can work with them. And at the end of the day, they're just like, you know what? I think I would be a lot better in back. I think I'd be a lot better maybe handing some clips or handing some bobby pins. It's just not my thing. But those that have been asked to tell their story and to help educate other people, especially if it wasn't at their own recognizance, other people see a magic in you that needs to be explored. Cool?
I love it. I love it. You guys, you see why I have him on here? He's awesome. So like I said, he has guided me, to come out of my shell. And it was hard. I was a very stubborn girl that never had the experience of going into public speaking or even sharing my story. And I was one of those people that my hands would be sweating, my hands would be shaking, a ball in my throat. And for some reason, he got it out of me. And, when I'm on stage and I'm talking really fast, like sometimes I get like anxiety. I want to just go really, I touch my stomach and I remember that breathing process that Ben taught me. And I actually stand up on, maybe you could see me, I'm touching myself like this, like on my stomach. I'm walking around and I touch my stomach like in a little like this. You're like, people are looking at me, why do you do this? I said, that is my breathing process. That
It makes me happy. It makes me happy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do this, but it actually is my comfort zone now. And I'm not gonna say I don't get like nervous sometimes. Of course, if you're gonna go speak in front of thousands of people, your anxiety, the beginning times that you get on stage, there's that that big rush, because you're like, holy shit, there's so many people here. Breathe, and then you're good. Now, I really would love, you guys to follow Ben Mollin after, you listen to this. And if you have any questions, guys, call him up.
Oh yeah, all day long.
He is awesome. He consults and he teaches. And, during these times, obviously, the best thing is these Zoom conversations, because they're awesome. It feels like we're still in front of each other, right? But we're not. But, we're having that personal connection through these Zooms. And he's awesome. Like, he'll train you. You're a hairstylist, salon owner, corporate companies. I think you do everything, right? Public speaking
Yeah.
is really important. And, if you're going to go stand in front of, to educate even a small crowd, you want to feel confident and you want to deliver your message. You got to call Ben.
No, awesome. It's been interesting. I would say probably my clientele is probably about 95% women. Large majority of those people would be hairdressers, especially hairdressers that present from stage, people that work for product companies or are starting their own brands. I've been working with a lot of startup companies. I just call them startup companies. A lot of people that would be like blonde specialists that are just looking for creative ideas, just somebody else to talk to from a creative standpoint. Hey, this is my idea. What do you think might be my first step? Okay, let's map this out and let's get this going on together. So I'm constantly having people text me ideas or, hey, this is what I'm thinking about naming this project. What does it sound like? This is my first month of what I think people might want to see. But majority is hairdressers. But then I also work with real estate sales. I've worked with pastors. I've worked with introverted teens. I've worked with audiologists. I mean, pretty much anybody who has an idea that wants to be perceived differently from how they feel about themselves. So I call myself a stage presentation coach and a creative content manager. And that's what I'm going with. And it seems to work. I enjoy it. And the thing that I enjoy the most is the aha moment that I have with people that I work with, and the feeling that I get from watching people grow from afar is unbelievable. So even for you to say that I had a big part to play with your career and your advancement, you know how that makes me feel, how it makes my heart feel. Dude, double up, man, double gun show. And I was telling you earlier that I think that you have this sixth sense, that you are just always 2 days ahead of the curve, even to the point where, some people might look at the weather forecast to see if it's going to rain before they go out for the picnic. Not you. I believe that you can smell it and you're always right. And you just have a really cool way of just landing on your feet. And the minute you land and you're grounded, you're off running, my friend. So it is a pleasure to call you a friend and a colleague. And the fact that you even look at me as a mentor hits me right in the feelers, friend. So thank you so much for all of that. I really mean that.
I love you. I
love you too. Yeah, you're so awesome. Huge fan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a one more question before we go. I get this question a lot in my classes, and you are the perfect person to answer it. They ask me, when public speaking, what facial expressions or body language helps the speaker and what does not? And I have to ask you.
When you start a sentence, you want to be in something called alpha stance. So what alpha stance is, it's your hands nice and relaxed at your side and your feet shoulder width apart. And that's the strongest that you are when you stand. The things that you want to avoid are nervous hand motions and covering your chest. So the best way to think about it is the first thing that you want people to see is your heart, posture, chin up, looking at your audience. And when you're making eye contact, you want to switch that pretty much every 2 seconds. So 1,000, 2, 1,000, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 1,000, 2, 1,000. So what that allows me to do is engage the room and go back and forth. Don't be afraid to walk. But if you are going to create movement, think fluidity. Think like a ballerina. Think like you're writing cursive. So if my hand movement almost needs to be like a conductor, like a swan, it needs to be very elegant because any harsh movements are very hard to watch. Now, when it comes to the face that you make when you're the most happiest, you got this little thing called a phone. So you want to figure out what that selfie face is, and you have tons of them on your phone. Take that selfie face and just transfer it, man. Lock it in, look at yourself in the mirror and go, good afternoon. Hi, my name is Ben Mollin. At the end of a sentence, 1,000, 2, 1,000. If you do that, you're good. Because if you don't do that, as opposed to using dead air, you start to use the word So hi, everybody. My name is Ben Mollin. I'm the CEO and founder of the Ben Mollin Project. Today, I am on Zoom with my friend Mireya Villarreal from Pink Pewter, dropping some science and some knowledge for everybody out there in Zoom land. And you just practice, 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 practice. But if you don't want to have RBF, figure out what your selfie face is, look in front of the mirror, videotape it, and talk. It's always better to be too flamboyant right in the beginning with your postures, especially when you're practicing. It's always easier to turn it down than it is to turn it up. So if you're going to practice being louder as opposed to being softer, practice to being overly animated as opposed to undermated, as opposed to being under animated, because it's always easier to turn yourself down than it is up.
I love it. You know, people use the word I don't use that. You know what I say? You know. A lot.
Oh yeah.
Get rid of that. It's like, 50 times. My husband wants to crack me in the head and he goes, stop saying I do this and like that.
yeah,
I don't know why I say
that's why, yeah, right.
So I get rid of that, Ben. I need to get rid of that.
You have to record it and then listen to it and figure out where it's coming in. So one of my things that I say is got it. And one of the pickup words that you always want to avoid too is like I said before. Like a lot of people are like I said before. And like I was saying, like I said before, just talk. So when you're practicing, when you're opening up your mouth that you're getting rid of these pickup words because you've ran through it 100 times. You've done it 1,000 times. The first couple of times you're supposed to figure out what it is that you're looking to improve upon. And then you're like, man, I blink a lot. How do I not blink? Practice, right? I keep on saying, figure out at the end of a sentence, this is where it is. And a really good way to practice as well is to read a book. Read a book. Just read it out loud. The punctuation's there. Get used to how long you need to wait after a comma. And when you write stuff out, go for it. Listen to audiobooks. Listen to TED Talk speakers. Listen to, who's a phenomenal speaker? Joel Osteen.
Oh, I love him. I watch him. My mom calls me every Sunday. Turn on the television. Joel Osteen is saying something it's straight coming to you. All these words are for you.
Yeah. And you know what's good about him? He's a good storyteller because when Joel Osteen tells a story, he goes from future tense to past tense to present tense. So Joel Osteen will be like, imagine a world where everybody just gets along and the sun comes up every day and people aren't judged on the fact of money that they make and who they are as human beings. That's future. Well, it always wasn't like such things. You see, about 20 years ago, when I first got into this ministry, right? That's past. My wife and I currently, and he just goes from one to the next. And Quentin Tarantino does that too, if you think about like Pulp Fiction. So think about how people tell stories. You're going to get a lot of information from people that lead millions of people from speech alone. So go outside of your normal listening habits and stay off the internet for a little bit, quit following people, and find a new set of standards and rules to live by, because then you will adapt new tools because of that decision and what you're surrounding yourself on a daily basis.
If you see my personal one, I only follow people that motivate me and inspire me. That's it. I
That's
don't
smart.
see bullshit. I don't want to see fake. I want to see only positive things that are going to get my mind elevated to a different galaxy. That's how I feel.
Smart, man. Yeah, it's smart. It's very, very smart. That's a very smart decision, Mireya. Very smart decision.
Well, guys, I'm very thankful, Ben, for you coming on and sharing, your messages on fear of public speaking. And guys, please follow him. I'm going to put his information right here, and we're here for you. And stay safe, stay healthy, and stay focused. Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome.